So pitch perfect. Everybody has a pitch. I'm going to start with mine. I'm Pam Perry, Dr. Pam Perry, honorary degree. And I really, PAM, 3 letters. I want you to remember PAM, Pam. I help people promote, amplify, and market their message. Been doing that for many decades, 3 decades. But primarily I do it for authors and speakers, those who want to get out there and get known. That's it. I don't say anything else. I let you ask, what else do you do? How do I get it? Give me some, whatever, whatever it is. But I'm not gonna go into a whole backstory about it. I'm not gonna say nothing else. I'm just gonna say those 3 things. That's what I do. That's who I do it for. Okay. The thing of it is when you do it and it's short and it's kind of punchy, it will engage people to ask you questions. And so with anything, you want people to ask you questions like, what? Tell me more. If they just look at you and walk away, and they say, that's nice, then obviously, we got some work to do on it, right? So you don't ever want to go to a networking event and you say, well, hi, how are you? What do you do? And you say it, and then they say, that's nice, and then walk away. Then it's like, okay, well, that didn't go really well. So you want to provide some kind of hook where they can be hooked in. So in terms of that's a pitch, that's a like, what do you do type of thing. Or when a podcast says, well, what do you do? Different from a pitch for media, right? So a media, what they're looking for by all the courses that we have in there. They're looking for a story. So you're looking for a story. I wish Tony was here. So her story, our newest person in here, her story is that she held a secret for 30 years and never talked about her sexual assault. And really, it's a serious subject, but she wrote a book about it. She's delivered from it. And it has been one of the things where when she opened up about it, kind of like with Oprah, when she opened up about hers, a lot of women were saying Me Too. It's a whole Me Too movement. But hers really started from a young age at 16, where she was really sexually abused by her boss that worked at Burger King. That's why I don't like Burger King. No, I'm just saying. But anyway, her boss worked at Burger King. And so one of the things that she says, I am a sexual assault survivor. I wrote a book. I have a foundation. And I have been featured in A, B, and C. And that's kind of like the thing where the media would want, because they're looking for a story. It's not really about what she does. If she were talking in another place, she actually has a curriculum that shows you specifically how to, for teachers, a whole curriculum on safety, child safety advocacy. So she'll talk a little bit about what that course is. So for each audience, you're going to have a different one. But for the media, you're going to find that story that they can hook in and say, oh, that will be good. For pitching for money, there's a lot of pitch contests. And that's going to be the next thing I'm working on for you guys, is putting together a list of places to pitch for money. That will be a different pitch. And that really is almost like a mini, I won't say like a dissertation, but it's almost like a mini marketing plan, because the main part they want to hear is like, how, if you win this money, how would this help your business? And that marketing plan is the main thing that they're listening for. So each pitch contest, you're going to have to say different things, but overall, the main things that they're looking at are your numbers and how to really make those numbers sound interesting. And we've all seen Shark Tank, right? And we know who wins and who doesn't. It depends on the idea, but also how they pitch it. And so that part of pitching is really important. And I'll do the pitch contests that are current, that are always rolling too, because there's some that always are rolling. And then there's some that are specific to different areas and things like that. But a lot of pitch contests are now online. They're online. So you can do them in person, or you could do them via Zoom. An organization I'm a part of, Black Door Society, they had a pitch contest. We had a pitch contest, and it was Zoom. So anybody could do it. And the person who won was a person that had a great idea, but they also spoke very well and laid out the vision of how, if they win the money, this is what I will do. Because most pitches, they just assume that when they're pitching, that people know what they're going to do with the money, but the person who is on the end want to give you the money, they want to know how you're going to use it. So you would think that's obvious, but it's not. let me tell you, because I've sat through a lot of pitch contests, and they were like, okay, so if you win, what are you going to do? You told me what you do, but you never told me why, if you won, what you would do with the money. And that's like your last closing statement. The other thing too, so in terms of bios, I'll read some bad bios and then I'll read some good ones. Okay. And when I say bad, so these are in Speakers Magazine, right? So they are to be entice you to want to hire them as a speaker, right? So, not saying bad, but meaning like it wasn't for the audience. So this one, it's kind of hard to say. So I'm gonna say this one here. This one is Athena. Okay. And so she's a spiritual thought leader, author, speaker, coach, and podcaster. So this was actually like a reiteration, because the first one she sent me wasn't that good. But this one here is, she's a founder of Universal Heart Coaching, a leading spiritual thought leader with a global clientele and a rare ability to use conscious language to give persons at every level awakening the framework to open up to their next level of spiritual elevation and expanded consciousness through her speaking, writing, and transformational coaching. What? So sometimes we can be so deep that no one understands what you said. You can unmute if you want. But that was one whole sentence. And so when she says she gives global clientele a real ability to use conscious language. So what is conscious language? So now my mind is going to, what is that? And then she goes on, because now I'm stopped at conscious language, to give persons every level an awakening the framework. Okay, so now I'm visualizing what is awakening, what framework, their next level of spiritual elevation, that I get, and expanded consciousness. So now it's like that word again, through her speaking, writing, and transformational coaching. So anyway, so she goes on a little bit, but you don't want to give people so many different ways that they're thinking like, what did you really mean? So when you say your pitch to someone that ask them if they know exactly what you meant. What you said is what they understand. A good one could be, let's just read Zandra's. Zandra is a talk show host, executive producer of the Z TV network. So meet Zandra, a bona fide powerhouse shattering women's norms in business, minority business owners, and small businesses. In less than 24 months, with no eyes focused on building and redefining her decades of corporate experience, Zandra has become a go-to icon for helping women create the necessary skills to be revered as respected leaders and accessing one's true power and potential. So this right here, you kind of visually see, in less than, she had all these decades, but in less than 24 months, she redefined herself as a network owner. Then she goes on what she does, and then she's also an author, and then she gives some more accolades and things like that. So that's kind of like a good bio, where it's like, oh, I could hire her because I understand what she does. The other ones, there is my publicist friends and I, we kind of go back and forth with this. Sometimes you can start out with your bio and you can really promote how wonderful you are. Okay. So you could say you're an award winning, that you done this and that. Some of my publicist friends say, we should start out in the what's in it for me type of thing. So nobody really cares about what it is you do. They want to know what's in it for me. So it's two cards of thought about that. What do you all think? Do you start your bio with what you've done, or do you start out with like what it is that you do for other people?
Mine is kind of a combination of the two,
Mm-hmm.
in a way. And the reason it's fresh in my mind is because I just added it to your community. Like I just redid it. So so it's kind of a combination of who I am, but what I help people do. Like, here's the transformation that you get if you work
Yes.
with me or hire me or whatever.
That's the part that people that tune into the what's in it for me, WIFIM or something like that. Yes. Right. So Eva, what is yours start out with, or Tari, what is yours start out with? or Pamela?
To unmute here. Mine starts out with who I am, and then it goes into awards, and then it goes into what my clients seek and how I help them. So it's kind of, I have a longer bio and a shorter bio. The longer bio is more inclusive, kind of has everything in it.
Yeah, it goes back and forth. I mean, when you say what you do, people then look for the proof about it. They want to know. If you just say all the awards and I don't really hear anything about what it is you're doing for me, then I kind of, in a way, people kind of tune it out. So it's a half and half, but we have to walk the line where the awards or the accolades are to support what you do. But the main thing is like, this is what you do for other people. So it's not about your work. So you could say,
So does it matter where you put it in the bio? Because I really start with the credentials, then the awards, and then what I do for people. It's kind of a three-step, and then my philosophy.
I think, let me hear the first sentence. I would like to hear, yeah, good question. I would like to hear it because I think people tune in to first what it is that you do for them and then the supporting.
Okay. So the way it is now, this is the one that goes out to my speakers. My certifications as a high performance coach, #1 best-selling author, certification as a DE&I trainer, and then I go. She's the recipient of the Los Angeles Tribune's Outstanding Leadership Recognition and the CXO 2.0 Outstanding Leadership Award. Eva's commitment to creating inclusive environments is an integral part of her communication, facilitation, and coaching practices. Her clients seek more than just career advancement. They aspire.
Okay. Then it is for me, and you all can hear this too. Wouldn't you rather hear what she does and then the credentials support what it is that she
So
does?
just switch it around.
Yes,
Okay.
yes. Because the first part just sounds so like, okay, so we got all these things, but what is it you do?
Okay.
You know, that kind of thing. That's that. And again, me and my publicist friends argue about that a lot, but I know the media, when you listen to the media, they want to hear what you do. And then they'll start investigating if you have the goods to do it. You
Okay.
see what I'm saying? I just saw something yesterday. Her name is she's a life coach. Her name is, I want to say, Realist. So her name was Rhea Williams, Rhea Williams. And I was really intrigued with her because she was on the GMA, I want to say GMA, with Al Roker on. He's on GMA. And she was on there and she was
He's
just,
on the Today Show, Pam.
he's on Today Show. Okay, so it was Today Show. Okay. I always get them confused. Ever since Tamara Hall left. But anyway, so she was on there giving tips, and they have a series called the Life Coach series. Okay. And I never heard of her. And I was interested in like, how does she get on? And then I Googled her name. Her name is Rhea Williams, and very different spelling. So I Googled her and saw that she had been on Jennifer Hudson 3 times. Again, giving tips, these life coach tips and things like that. Again, then I go and I look her up some more and I look at her website. So I'm looking at her media readiness, about how ready she was. Her website was great. Very attractive woman, knew her sound bites perfectly. Very, when I say had the eye candy look, okay, had the eye candy look, and you saw it on the Today Show, you saw it on Jennifer's when she's sitting on the couch, and I went to her website and said, wow, she has some professional photos done. She looks really good. California, Hollywood girl, LA, Cali girl, right? So I was like, that figures, just she had that look. And then the only other press that it says, oh, was she on some local media first? The only other thing that I saw was like Canvas Rebel, Shout Out LA, those kind of things, Voyage LA. And so I read a little bit more about her story. License, she went to HBCU, butter. And I said, well, why? Because there's so many life coaches. She reminds you of a Valerie Burton. And she just gave some basic tips about life coaching. Tariq could have did the same thing. So I'm looking at it from the standpoint, like, why her, why not Tariq? And packaging was fine. She does video. So she only has like, I said, well, maybe she's a mega star on Instagram or YouTube, and I just don't know anything about it, right? Because it's not my demo. Well, 4,000 on Instagram, not that many on LinkedIn, maybe 300 subscribers on YouTube, but she did have a sizzle reel. She did that 4 years ago. You could tell it was Hollywood. Then I looked and I saw that one of her best friends was someone from LA Law, or yeah, Law and Order, something like that. She was friends with a lot of the Black actors and actresses. I said, well, not knowing her, I said, well, she may be a life coach for some of these actors and actresses. Still investigating some more. I'm nosy. And I'm looking and I find that she is in Chicago and she is with her brother. I was like, okay, her brother is in the entertainment industry. Look at her brother. Her brother is actually good friends with J Hud. That's how we got there. So a lot of times people think like, oh, well, she was such a good, well, she was ready. She was ready. She had the picture, she had the reel, she had a presence, but there were some things that I saw that were probably, she could probably have done better, but obviously can't do better than having your brother knowing J Hud, because he was in the music industry. I want to say he may be her Jennifer Hud's manager. I'm not sure, but he's in music management. And I said,
I
okay,
saw that, Pam. I saw her on that Al Roker interview, and I'm like, they having a life coach on here? That was really interesting.
that was interesting. And so with my brain, not knowing that she's not an influencer, right? She does it. Sometimes you could bubble up so high where you then could pitch yourself and that's, oh, well, she has a lot of eyeballs. But she had those 3 interviews with Jennifer Hudson 3 different times, and basically saying the same thing, dating tips or whatever, those kind of things. And she doesn't even have a book. But what she does have, when you look further, she is always like the MC or the facilitator for a lot of the Hollywood stars events. The woman who was the actress for the Law and Order, or whatever that was. So those kind of things kind of matter for people like J Hud, because they know that she wouldn't, one, be starstruck about being on the show, obviously, because she's used to that. And so that's what part of that is, like looking like you're used to that. I'm ready for this kind of a feel, kind of a look. Versus she did say, though, she did have a little bit of a starstruck moment, though, if you remember that, even where she said, my dad just loves you. She says, I'm just so happy to be here. At that point,
She started that. Yeah.
you could see a lot of that gushiness coming out, and then she had to quickly get it together, like, okay, I gotta quit fanning. They want a segment, they don't want a fan, right? So that's part of that. The book that I always tell you all to get, that a person who learned that was Avita. It's called Make It Rain by Avia Martin. I can't pronounce her name, Avia Martin, but Make It Rain. She talks about that so much. She's an attorney, and she really started studying interviews and why those people got there. That's one of the main things I love about Avia, that she just does. Like, she talks about the hours of her studying different interviews. The thing that the person, Rhea, when she was on Today's Show, they asked her, first of all, they had 3 people interview, which I thought was crazy. I was like, why do you need 3 people to interview a person that's doing a 5-minute segment? But anyway, they asked her at the very end, Roker asked, she says, give us some examples of some affirmations. Can you give us some? She says, oh yes, I would love to. And she couldn't remember them. She had to look to the queue because they were late in putting it up. That's why it's really important to know your sound bites. And she says, oh yes, I would love to, the affirmations. And she was like, are they going to put them up on the screen? And finally they did, but I saw the delay. But anyway, those are the things. If you look at when you see someone that you haven't heard of that is on a national platform, look at their background, or look at their backstory, look at their website, look at their bios, look at those type of things, look at their stories, maybe look at their books, and you can kind of see clues of why they are there, and then maybe what you need to do in order to get there as well. And it's almost like dissecting it backwards. So many people always come to me and say, hey, I want to be here. And then I could tell them, I said, well, do you know why they're here? They were 10 years out, they were in their local market, and they became the sliced bread in their own market. So they were on every TV station, they were in every newspaper, they were in the magazines. They became like the big fish in the small pond in their market in Cleveland. Then they jumped. But people don't see that. They just see the jump because they don't live in Cleveland. They just see them on this show. But it's like, but they didn't realize that they'd been on like 100 shows before that. So that's what I have to just say to that part. The other part, so this is something that is not a bio that I would say. So Dr. Mary, I won't even say the whole thing, is the CEO of whatever company is, an integral part of whatever the services are. She's an organizational psychologist, she's a life strategist, she's a thought leader, she's a media expert, she's a speaker, and she appears on multiple platforms to this and that. So when you start listing all of the things that you do, it becomes like a laundry list that you might as well add I sweep chimneys too. Okay. So we want to sound like you're an expert and not make a long list. People think like, oh, if I list all these things that I do, then the better I am. No, you just sound scattered. You really do. So just really focusing on a brand of just one thing at a time sounds better. She goes through what she's known for. That's fine. She is known for her no nonsense and compassionate style. She brings the best of what she's learned to each engagement, this and that. So that's fine. But the beginning of it was just a little bit like, okay, you're doing the most. I can't even follow you. There are some that will give you a story. So this one is in particular, the person just starting out. So this person says she's been writing since she was a little girl. She's a graduate of such and such a school. She holds her certificate in this and this. Her career began in here. Now, they're just starting out, but that is the most boring way to start out a bio. And I tell people, I said, we want to sound like a bio and not an obit. We don't need to know what school you went to. We don't need to know that you were born, that kind of thing. So those are the things. If you go through some of the speakers magazines, you can see which ones pull out and which ones need some work. I'll give you some good ones because I gave you the bad ones. I can pull the bad ones out all day, right? So this one is Saran Baker. She's in Maryland. Saran Baker shines as a transformational coach and speaker dedicated to empowering women. Makes me want to read a little bit more. Okay, tell me more. She empowers wealth creators, professionals through financial education. With a rich background in marketing organizational development, she expertly navigates her audience through the complexities of financial planning with workshops, budgeting, retirement strategies, innovative insurance options, and debt management. So obviously, I know she's a financial person. She's empowering women, that kind of thing. Now, behind that, she says, beyond the numbers and strategies, her commitment shines brightest in her dedication to community service, particularly supporting financial literacy for youth and teens. She goes all of that, and then at the very end, she gives you her credentials. But before that, I'm kind of getting a story about her, because now I could see the totality of her, because everybody may have the same credentials. Everybody has these degrees, but what makes you different? There's another one. This particular person, she is this is Dawn. She is a beacon of hope and healing in the mental health community, really talking about transcends beyond the traditional boundaries of psychotherapy to destigmatize mental health one speech at a time. So now she knows that one speech at a time. She wants to destigmatize that. Now she gives you a little bit of her credentials. She's a licensed psychotherapist, a certified trauma specialist, but her dedication shines through her leadership through Tranquil Solutions. Her academic prowess is highlighted with a doctoral focus on adverse childhood experiences, social inequities, and equips her with profound understanding the complexities surrounding mental health. She goes at beyond her private practice. She's also doing some things with the FBI, this and that. So it just kind of goes in a little bit to let you know, like, okay, what bucket do we put her in? But she says one speech at a time. So anyway, this was in this particular issue. When I looked at this, these ladies here are actually part of Black Door Society. So I did rewrite a lot of their bios, just so that you know, so that people can understand a little bit more about who they are. Because most of them gave me a bio about what they did, but not really who they are and who they help. And that's really like the main thing I want the pitches to sound like. Nilda is really talks about leadership, and that was really her main thing. But it was like, what about the leadership? So she gives you her main thing. Terry, you got a question? Sure, go ahead, because I don't want to just.
I do. So do you recommend that we have different bios for like media, print media, and keynote speeches, and so that when people ask us for stuff, we have it already ready to go, because certain ones should have different stuff?
Yes, please.
Okay.
Yes. Yeah, different lens. So say for instance, someone who is what I did on like a one sheet is what I'm doing when I'm pitching you to the media. Versus then if you are booked, then you send a different one because they're going to introduce you. So the one that you use to be booked is different from the one that you would use for them to introduce you, because it's going to be a different language. Sometimes if they don't have that, they'll pull it from LinkedIn, which is why I personally like on my LinkedIn to be in third person. But some people argue that they put it in first person. But I know for a fact that the media will be lazy sometimes, and they'll just grab a bio, not from your website. They'll grab it from LinkedIn, because usually that's Googling up first, and they know that's the most probably current one because it's on your social media, whatever, they'll use it. But if it's in first person, that means when they're introducing you, they've got to translate it. Instead of saying I, they got to say she. So it could be a little difficult. So that's why I always put mine in third person. But I know a lot of people, I know YB does his in first person. So, but I use it, my mind is always on media. So that's why I use it. But I do have longer bios. Typically you will have one probably like about 500 words, 250, and then one really, really super short, 120 words. And then a micro bio is like if you write an article, then you put a little micro bio at the very, very end, and that's usually about 75 words or so. So you want to make sure that Eva, yeah.
Yeah, I was curious, do you have a template on how we can write these bios so that
In
yeah.
the brand accelerator, the
And
bio.
the brand accelerator. Okay, great. Thank you.
I think that's lesson number 2, because it's like so important, because it's like my thing, it's like these bios, and I write obituaries too. So obituaries are different than bios, even though it does tell a little bit about a person. But I find that when I was doing Speakers Magazine, people would hand me bios that sound like obituaries. I'm like, oh my God. This one, I like this one. And sometimes if you're in a space of using, and this can kind of get flagged too. Sometimes if you're a licensed therapist and you're talking about sexual abuse or those kind of words get flagged. So it's difficult. I had a client, her name was Dr. Jerry, and yeah, a lot of times because she dealt with youth that were like sexually abused. So a lot of times she had to use different words because the internet would just flag words. But anyway, this is Dr. Bridget Leonard's bio. She says, from sexual molestation and teen pregnancy to depression, suicide attempts, and abuse. That's her story. Dr. Bridget embodies the epitome of the word perseverance. So that's her story. So she won't really take that out. You see what I'm saying? It is so strong. It's like, wow. But then she goes on, what may have broken others, Dr. Bridget Leonard uses as building blocks to her next level of success. Then she goes on about who she is as her credentials. As a nursing leader with over 25 years experience, her transparency, obviously, courage, and motivation empowers employees and mentees alike to knowing that anything is possible when you're committed to doing the work. From a certified nursing assistant to chief nursing officer, She serves as a mentor and model of excellence to all people in all backgrounds. So that's kind of like her main thing, is that whole thing of like, what type of speaker is she? She's a speaker author, but immediately you know what she can do, what she would bring as her message on. The things on a speaking sheet or even on a one sheet, most requested speaking topics. So this right here is a sheet that you can actually send to a podcaster or to a TV station, because now you can know what she could talk about: chronic illness, a family approach to coping. Let's talk about relationship, grown folks style. Those are her signature speeches. So I always suggest that having those handy so that people can know what it is that you will speak on, especially when you're pitching to a podcast, because they can say they can pull one of those out as the whole episode, right? So anyway, yeah, these type of things, when I have them in the magazine, they're inspiring, but look at them from the standpoint of what could I have done better, or why that one is good, or why that one isn't so good. And I think you can kind of see now the cover stories are a little bit different. But depending on what your purpose of the bio is, for this one in here, this is Marissa Mitchell. She's a reporter. So basically she's a 3-time Emmy-winning news anchor at Fox DC. So they lead with that. She's not trying to get booked as a speaker. She's basically telling you about her reporter, but she tells you a little bit about her story, but mostly it's about her business. So this is more like a business bio, but you can kind of find different things like that. So anyway, I want a few minutes. Oh Lord, why didn't you almost stop me? Okay. I want to hear everybody's pitch. I started out with my pitch of who I am. So what is it that you do? And basically in your little 1 or 2 minute elevator pitch, we'll kind of go round the robin. And Mike, you can come off mute if you want to. I see that you're on there as well. But let's start with Eva, and then Donna, then Tari, and then Pamela.
I'm gonna go last, okay?
You go last, okay? So I'm gonna have Donna go next, and then Tari, then Pamela.
Okay, this is the little short one, right? Okay, I teach people how to build a freedom-based online recurring revenue membership business so they can have a joyful life, a profitable business, and a meaningful legacy.
I like that. So those are the 3. I can visualize that. You know, it's like who you are, what you do, and what the result is. I like that. Okay. All right.
Thank you.
Tari?
I don't want to follow Donna. Am I supposed to say my name and stuff? Let's see. Oh,
It's kind of like after I say, hi, my name is Pam Perry,
right.
you know,
Okay.
what do you do?
I'm a co-founder of Extreme Hip Hop, a global fitness company who's certified over 4,000 instructors to help them build their business. I've now expanded to work with women to create and refine their vision and profit from their purpose.
Okay. So I like that. The credentials maybe are what support what you just said. So my name is Tari Donaldson. I support women to profit from their purpose. I had a organization, Extreme Hip Hop, I certified 8,000 people, you know, that kind of thing. So immediately it's like I'm tuned in. It's like, okay, I help women. And it's like, well,
Right.
why are you helping women? Oh, okay.
Okay.
You know, and the question could be, how do you help women? And you already said it, to help them profit from their purpose. And it's really because of the Extreme Hip Hop, how you help put that together so that you certified 8,000 fitness instructors. Oh, by the way, Tari,
What?
your health journey.
You want me, I say all that in that little spiel?
Oh, by the way, at the very end. So so I help people profit from their purpose. I help the Extreme Hip Hop certified 8,000 people because it helped me blank.
Oh, okay, I like it.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Okay. So because I couldn't say that. I could say that I did, but it's like, because it's like, oh, really?
Right.
You know, so now it's like, how did you do it? And basically you go through how I help women with the mindset about purpose and this and that. So it's not like because what I remember you said, and she says it's a lot because she has had a lot of weight loss, and probably with you too, Donna Marie, is that people will say because you did it, now they want you to be their health coach.
And that's
Show me
a
how you do it. How you do it? How you do it? Can you teach me? Can you, and it's like, that's not what I'm doing. It's like, that's part of it.
right.
It's not like you went to school for nutrition and I'm now that kind of thing. So you want to just say, because blah, blah, blah.
Yes.
That's
Okay,
it.
I like that. Okay.
And then that way you don't have people say, oh, are you a trainer? Say, oh my God, no, I'm not a trainer. So then you can say, but you can actually find an extreme hip hop class.
That's what you can do. Yes.
So that's their training. So yeah, so that's good. That's good. I like your background too, by the way. I do like your background.
You like that?
Yes. So it's on the easel. Because a lot of people were like, I don't know where to put it. It's like,
I bought an easel and
you
put it here, and I got one in my office.
yes, perfect. I love it. All right. So you want to go next, Eva, or you want to go last still?
Wait, let me unmute. All right. Now, I was trying to get it compact. But basically I help leaders and individuals communicate effectively and advance professionally by cultivating habits of high performance.
Okay, I like it. Say the word help again, because I know I go back and forth with that a lot. Say the word, I help leaders. What is it you help leaders with?
I help leaders and individuals communicate effectively and so they can advance professionally by cultivating habits of high performance.
Okay, so drop the word individual. We could leave that. You didn't say it's not a deal killer if we say it or not.
Okay, so I help leaders communicate effectively so that they can advance professionally by cultivating high performance habits.
I like that. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I like that. Because you don't need to say leaders and individuals. Now it's like you're stumbling over words. Because if someone sees himself as a leader, they are going to be the person that want to be with you because you're a high performance coach. So you don't want just any individual to be, they're not going, you know what I'm saying? It's like they got to see themselves as a leader. It's like, oh,
Yeah, that's the problem. Most people don't, especially women.
a whole nother thing. I know.
That's a whole nother thing. But
I
yes.
wrote a whole blog today about that. But anyway,
so what I say, professionals
is good. Yeah,
Yeah.
professionals is good. Yeah, professionals is good. I mean, leaders just kind of puts it in a little bit different category because they may be a C-suite versus someone who's a professional that may be a teacher, So, but professional is good. Professionals are good. That's one of the main things. So Pamela, Michael, the first I want to say, Michael, can you unmute? Are you, because I want Pamela to go last.
Yes, I can unmute.
Okay. All right. Let's hear Michael, and then Pamela, you go last.
Yes, my name is Michael Wynn, known as Coach Wynn. I'm a habit success strategist, and I connect with leaders, business teams, and organizations that thrive on winning strategies through repetition and growth development to empower.
Okay, it's getting too long.
And growth development.
Okay, there we go.
Okay.
I like it.
Yeah.
The main thing they're gonna remember about you is what?
A habit success strategy or growth development?
Win.
Repetition. Oh, win, yeah.
How many times did you say win?
Twice.
Yes, that's what they're gonna remember. Winning strategies and winning with the power.
3 times.
Yes, I like that. Don't make it too long because now it sounds like
okay. Yeah, I was going to end at growth development. I when I scribbled, I didn't mean to read that. I stopped at repetition and growth development. Is where I stopped.
Yes, he has a cool name. Whenever you have a name that's a cool name, use it. Win, Coach Win. He says, my name is Michael Wynn. They know me as Coach Win. I help with winning strategies, this and that. It's like, okay. So that is cool. That is cool. Okay. All right, Pamela, let's hear yours. Hers kind of like has a little bit of a I won't say a cheat sheet to it, but we both know that the Gloria Mayfield Banks influence is part of that. So go on. Because when I first heard hers, I was like, oh, okay. But that's what they teach in Well, in some married case. I think it may be only Gloria. Is it only Gloria?
Gloria started it. Yeah, she
She
coined
started-
it.
She
Yeah.
coined it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
'Cause even-
that's my, I'm sorry, go ahead.
Because even Chrisette Ellis, who is under Gloria, does the same thing. And
Mhm.
you know, that you hear that kind of rhymey kind of, yeah. Anyway, go on. So you can kind of hear when people ask you to stand up and tell us who you are.
Okay. So equipped, empowered, poised and positioned to move those who are ready to move is my ultimate mission. I wake up every day determined to make a difference in my assigned place. You see, my purpose, my passion, and my focus is to take you from where you are to where you want to be. I am Pamela Luhe, a coach's coach, speaker, and 10-time author. And we offer a one-of-a-kind, one-stop shop for certified women coaches over 40, overwhelmed with building their coaching businesses, create attractive brands, package their signature programs, and develop winning websites so they grow their audience with confidence and launch their businesses with greater ease.
I love it. It got a little long towards the end, but you all see where she has that captivating thing. It's just like it's what she does, but it's put together in a way when people stand up and say, "Who are you? What you do?" They want to hear more because it kind of rhymes. It's not like it's a rap, but it is kind of like it's pleasing to the ear to hear. That's the point I want to say. It's pleasing to the ear to hear.
So thank you for that question, because I normally, if somebody just asks, what do you do? Then I just tell them, I'm Pamela Luhane, I help women, da, 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 da. The first part, when you mentioned Gloria, I knew exactly what you're talking about. That's the introduction. I only say that typically when I'm doing my shows or in speaking engagements and things of that nature. But when you said it got a little long, I wanted to go back to that part because I'm working on a different version of it. And with my other coach, just being more succinct with who I serve, right? So we talked about certified coaches. Okay, so what do I help certified coaches do? So I've been reworking it a little bit. So the portion that I really like your input on is I'm Pamela Luhane, and I like how people have been adding a little bit of their credential in there. So I'm a coach's coach, speaker, and 10-time author, and we offer a one-of-a-kind, one-stop shop for certified women coaches over 40, overwhelmed with building their coaching businesses, create attractive brands, package their signature programs, and develop winning websites so they grow their audience with confidence and launch their businesses with greater ease. So that's the part I need probably some help in trying to tweak so it's not as long.
Yeah, there's some words that I would take out. You don't have to say the word winning. I mean, you ain't gonna create no losing website, right? so that's gonna be, there was a part, certified coach is fine. When you said brand, I think that kind of encompasses things. So if you take out those other two things and get to the end. So it was like, I help people with brand, right? Go over that part.
So create attractive brands. So should I take out the word attractive because I didn't have the adjectives in before?
No, just stop the adjectives because you're going to say with confidence so they can feel the adjective.
Okay, so create brands. Okay, so with building, so over 40, overwhelmed with building their coaching businesses, create brands, package their programs, and develop websites so they grow their audience with confidence and launch their businesses with greater ease.
That's it. That's what they want to hear.
Okay, and what about signature programs? So I said, should I say signature or no signature, just package their programs? So it's
Package their programs. Yeah, package their programs. It doesn't, I mean, if they have at this point, they don't know what signature means.
That's right.
It's like, I do because we use that language. Tari does, but no one knows. It's just package my programs. So that part right there. So that at that point, they're remembering that they're overwhelmed and they can have ease. That's where we're getting to.
Okay, got it.
And then they can say, how do you do that? Then you can go with the other adjectives and things like that. But the whole point, getting to the point where they can say, how do you do that? We've got too many adjectives that it looks good writing it, but when you're speaking it, it then becomes, I'm trying to visually see it at the same time. You see what I'm saying? It's like I got winning websites, I've got signature. It's like, where did my mind stop? My mind stopped that I'm overwhelmed. So now don't overwhelm me with the words.
Okay, got it.
So just give me the ease. That's what I really want, is the ease. So that's
Okay.
it. I like it. I wanted you to go last. So it is recorded, but I want you to go last so people can hear the confidence of when you start. Sometimes when you start with such a strong thing, and Tari, you should do the same thing. When you start with such a strong thing, I am, da, 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 and people just automatically just stop up and listen. Sometimes you do the round of robins if you go to a Chamber of Commerce or you go to a novel meeting, and they'll say, hey, stand up and tell us who you are. And everybody else sounded like Miss Boring Lucy, right? But you stand up and say something, then at the end of that event, everybody comes up to you and wants to know who you are. That's really important. I remember my friend Kadena, she same thing, you know, people in Goldman Sachs would ask, you know, Goldman Sachs, a little program cohort, that people stand up, who are you? And everybody would say whatever they were, and everybody was boring. She did something totally different. And then at the end of the thing, she, one of the few Black people came up there, everybody wanted to know who she was and was getting her business card and whatever. It's an intro, it's a part of that pitch. So yeah, so that's it. It's 3:06. It's Good Friday. I want you all to have a good Saturday, Easter, all that kind of stuff. Thank you. I appreciate all of you all being part of Ready, Set, Go, Speak. If you do anything, make sure you put Ready, Set, Go, Speak on there. I follow. That's how I kind of see everybody. Thank you, Michael. Happy holidays to you too. So that I can kind of follow you, promote it, reshare it. That's what the thing. So I can't reshare it if I don't see it. So please put the things in here so I can find them. I mean, I can snoop on some of you guys, like, okay, what they doing over here? But I just saw that Mr. Reed released a book here. I'm like, well, how I just got to find about that on IG? Put it up in the community.
It wasn't my book. I was just part of it. It was just, I was a part of it.
That's part of it though.
I know. Pamela, we was talking about it, that I didn't even tell you about the award, and you was like, that would have been nice to know. I'm like, I don't even think like that. Like, I'm just moving. Like, I don't think.
So part of it is like to have the marketing mindset. If you just even post it in the group, I can then help you figure out how to spin it so that we can actually put it all together. If you say, oh, it's so small, we'll take a lot of little things and put them in a release. You know what I'm saying? That will be good too. Recently won an award, released a book, this and that. It reminds me of something TD Jakes said a long time ago. I think the sermon was called 7 Steps to a Turnaround. And he said, sometimes people can take that same little raggedy house with the broken steps and they could turn it around and be like the biggest person on the block. He said, but you just so like, oh, well, it's just this and that. It's like, nope, I'm going to take my stuff and we're going to shine it up and we're going to put it out there. You know, so don't think it's so small. And it's like, I didn't even think like that. Put it in the community and let me think about it, because I'm always thinking about it. I'm always thinking like, okay, well, this is a thing. And Pam knows. Pam is getting an award, career mastered, and at a place, at a facility where her mom used to be a housekeeper. And so it's a real full circle moment to be at the Book Cadillac Hotel, where her mom came from the South to work as not a day worker, but as a maid. I was as a maid, and now decades later, her daughter's getting an award at the same place. You know, so that's kind of like a full circle moment. So when you think about it, that's the kind of stuff media loves. They love stuff like that. It's like, oh, okay, well, that's it. That's kind of like when you were in the Texas today. You know, it's like a full circle moment. Like this is where I started. Now I am, you know, that kind of thing. Jay-Z said, we started from the bottom. Now we're here. Those are the rags to riches stories are always going to go in. The media loves those kind of stories. They want those stories, and they don't get enough of them. So yeah, so that's it. I always think about that. So thank you guys. You know, fill out the survey, things that you want to see more of. Next week we have a hot seat. Lindsay will be joining us, and it's going to be good. It's going to be good. So yeah, so definitely join us on that next Friday at 2. All right, cool. And I like everybody's background. Yes.
You have a quick question. Is it time?
Yeah.
Okay. In our, what do you call it? Accountability sessions with Tari and Donna Maria, Tari had mentioned Pitch DB.
Yes.
And I wanted to get your insight on it because I'm trying to make a decision on where I'm moving to and how I'm moving in the second quarter, because Q2 starts Monday. So
Mhm.
I'm considering joining PitchDB, but I want to find out, any insights that you have around it and anything like
So, so it's kind of like I have a PR database, Cision, thousands of dollars, thousands, like $5,000 a year. It's crazy. So you got all this, whatever. The difference between PitchDB is that it can sort it out for you and it quickly pitches you and the emails come back to you. Whereas Cision, not only do I have to find it, then I have to like send it, then I got to pull it out and then I got to go back. I mean, it's just so cumbersome. Where
Mhm.
PitchDB is streamlined. And it'll actually, the AI part of it helps you write the pitch. I'm like, okay, well, Ron, you can't make it more easier than this. Now, the part that is, you've got to stay on top of it in terms of when you do send out all the pitches, the emails are going to come back to your email. If you get overwhelmed by email, it's going to be overwhelming because they'll be responding. When they do respond, this is for speaking, use it for speaking and use it for media. So when they do respond, sometimes they'll say, fill this out. It's an RFP. And then, and that can be overwhelming because Vicky uses it, nor is it Yolanda. I think Yolanda was like, it was just overwhelming. She says, I had like 5 RFPs that I've got to do. And it was another job. So she was too busy for it. But if you do have the time or you have a template, because I told her to just make it a template, they basically asked the same thing, but she was redoing it from scratch. So I was like, no, don't have to do it from scratch. It's like, that's why we have a bio, we have a photo, we have a sizzle. They ask for the same stuff. The only thing they ask for sometimes is different is in the RFP, what are your learning objectives? And you just got to say what they're looking for, whatever. But I like it. I use it. They have a you can spend a lot of time with it, but it is a numbers game. The more pitches, the more opportunity to fill out the RFP and the more opportunities to do that. So these are people that are these are active searchers, people who are actually searching for speakers. So I would say this is the best way. Because as long as you have the assets, you can fill out the RFP.
Okay, so it's speakers, it's media, it's all things PR basically,
Yeah.
right?
Yes, it's speaking and it's also media. So
Media.
media's in there as well.
Okay, all right. Thank you so much for that. I appreciate it. I'm making a decision today, this decision-making day.
It is. It's one of the ones that's good. I mean, I've had some other ones as well. Like I said, Cision will be way too big. Arrow is overwhelming. There's some other ones. Quoted is I never have any luck with Quoted. But I've had it with PitchDB because it's coming from your email. It looks like it's coming from your email and responding back.
Thank you.
So cool. Because with Haro, you can't send them directly. It's got to go through an email system, which, yeah, whatever. But yeah, but that's the main thing. But I would definitely use it. Michael, do you use it at all, PitchDB? When?
Yeah, yeah. I just upgraded. I was using it, and I met with Ron this weekend. So he had a special week. I actually went. It didn't make sense for me to stay in the middle. I went to 300 pitches.
Yeah.
So
A month.
I'm working on it. I've been going back and forth. I talked to him today because he's trying to change something that didn't go through because I got it through him and he made an offer and me and him we were at lunch and he gave me a code. So he's trying to work on something. So I'll be using it more.
The more pitches, he said 300 a month.
Yes.
So you can say at the very least, you're going to get at least 4.
Yes.
That's the thing, because the less you pitch, if you pitch only 10, you're not gonna get half.
The beauty of it is, although he said you don't want to, he let you carry whatever you didn't use over a certain amount.
Okay.
Yeah,
And I like
I
him
know
'cause
that
he's
question
just
came up
real-
a couple times, but he
He's
said it
so
doesn't make
good
sense.
at working with you. Like I like him because he's accessible. And like if
He's
I have
big.
a
He
question,
is.
he'll send me a Zoom link right away and get on there and talk to me
He
about it.
is very approachable. My wife gave him a name Columbia because we were there. It was cold. He said he didn't own the coat. It was the day it snowed. We were at the hotel. We took him to the
He's from
hotel.
St. Louis. He know better.
Well, he's from St. Louis, but he's been in Columbia so long. He said he just haven't bought him a coat. So, but he
He
had
go
we had a
visit
good
his
time.
mama.
I know, yeah, yeah, yeah. But he's very his technology, but he's really very helpful. Any questions you have, he'll get back with you right away.
He's a geek, but he's not that kind of geek that talks over your head.
Right.
Correct,
You know,
correct.
so he knows all the programming stuff, but he doesn't talk over your head. So he really put it together really good. So yeah, definitely is a really good one. There's some other ones out there that I've used, and like I said, Cision is like the dinosaur in it. It's been in it forever, and it's so clumsy and so expensive. I am so ready for this year to be done, and I can be done with them because I'm not going to use Cision anymore. It's just at a certain point in time things change, and you just got to go with it. Like this platform here that we're using, Mighty Networks. I love this platform. It's a lot easier than other platforms because the later they see the problems of the earlier people, and they just try to make those go away. So now we got a good thing working. Where before it was like, I kind of have to piece it together, and Zoom is here. No, now it's all in one. So yeah. It's a good one. If your goals are, just don't overwhelm yourself. That's the only thing I have to say.
Well,
Yeah.
I'm thinking about getting some help with it. So
Good.
I'm the
A
one,
VA.
right?
I'm gonna make some lists of some VAs too. So that's something too as well, that I'll put some VAs in there because I don't want you all to get overwhelmed. So a lot of them I use overseas that are very inexpensive. Okay. Yeah. So that way you could do all the things that I'm showing you to do or advising you to do, but don't get overwhelmed. So you could use like somebody that's like $200 a month that will take a whole lot off your plate. You'd be like, why didn't I have them earlier? So I'm gonna make that list. Yeah. Okay. All righty. Thank you guys.
Have a
All
great
right. You all.
weekend,
All right.
Easter.
You too. Bye-bye. See you next week.